Hello, welcome. We're live here in the Digital DJ Tips studio. That can mean only one thing on a Thursday Q&A live with me, Phil Morse. We're here to bring you all the help you need and just to give you somewhere to hang out for the next 45 minutes or so and chat DJing, which is what we do every Thursday at this time. We're live on our Facebook groups, our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, and also on Twitch. Hello, Twitch people. But the best place to watch this is definitely on Facebook. And the reason for that is that any questions that you ask us live here in the studio will be remembered and they will be underneath that video forevermore. And that means that if we don't get to you, and generally we do get hundreds of questions here, so we can't get to everyone, then at least we can answer your question afterwards. So for those of you who don't know us, you stumbled over this, we're Digital DJ Tips. We're the world's biggest online DJ school, the people behind Rock the Dance Floor, the #1 selling book on Amazon on how to DJ, and also the people with DJ courses from the likes of Jazzy Jeff, James Hype, DJ Angelo, Laidback Luke, and many, many more. In short, we're the place to come to learn how to DJ. Whatever kind of DJing you want to do and whatever area of DJing you want to learn about, we're here for you. We do this every Thursday. Every Tuesday, we do something similar where we pick a burning DJ topic of the week. It might be a new piece of gear. We got a piece of gear here. This is the Numark NS4FX. So we've had this in the studio for a few weeks because we've been reviewing it and playing with it. It's a new controller. So it might be a new piece of gear or it could be something else. Whatever it is, we talk about it on a Tuesday and have a kind of free lesson. So that's something to join us for every Tuesday. These lessons are always at 3 p.m. London, 10 a.m. Eastern, which is the time right now. And that's kind of where we're at. You've had the intro, you know what's going on, and it's time for me to head over to the comments and start answering your DJing questions. Remember, we're here in the studio. We're surrounded by DJ gear. I've got stuff you can see and I've got stuff you can't see. I've got a wall of DJ controllers over there. I've got two big Pioneer and Denon DJ setups behind me. I've got DJ controllers under the desk. I've got the gear here that you probably want to know about, so do ask questions. Funnily enough, we've been working this week on our new gear guide. You might have downloaded our gear guide in the past. This is our high-tech working notes on the gear guide here, going from page 1 through to page 64, and a load of extra stuff I'm added. So the gear guide is something we publish every year, and this is incredible. It's like a free magazine basically, which goes through every piece of DJ gear that we think you should be interested in, know about, whether it's software, hardware, production gear, live streaming gear, accessories. We do this kind of big write-up to help you get up to speed with all that stuff if you're new to this. So if you want to get that gear guide, it's going to come out at the end of June. You just have to join. You have to join Digital DJ Tips. You can see the old one there. There it is, there, the old one there. But you also get a copy of the book, so do come and join us. It's digitaldjtips.com/join to get all that good stuff. More importantly, you get our weekly emails to help you become a better DJ. Right, few early hellos. Hello to You Don't Like My Music, to Papa D, to GM, and to Christian, and to Oleg. Hello to Peter in Chicago, DJ Choco-Rock, DJ A.D. Foster, New York City. Hi to Simon and Paul and James and Steve Pig and Rob Hayes. To Reggie the Chemist. Chicago DJs in the building. What's up, Phil? Back at you, Reggie. To Treo Jones. So this first question is from Facebook user. And the reason it says Facebook user is our groups don't always give us the names of people. This is a question. Have you seen the new Equinox Helix? Would you say they're worth buying over the older version? I've got no idea because I haven't seen it. So if you have, this person will be on our Facebook group on the Global DJ Network for sure. So go find the video there. And if you can let us know, I will share that. So this question from Jacko, does personal hotspot work well on the Prime 4? So this is a question about using your DJ setup to get music into the unit. And this is quite an interesting one because some DJ controllers or some DJ systems, and I haven't got one down here, but I have got one over there. So should I run over and get it? Should I run off camera? You can still hear me if I run over here. I'm now in the warehouse part of the Digital DJ Tips studio where we have all the controllers lined up on the wall. I might show you this one day, but not today. So what you're talking about is the Prime 4, but this is the same kind of thing. This is the Prime Go from Denon DJ. The point is, what we're talking about is a DJ unit that has built-in Wi-Fi. And the Wi-Fi lets you access streaming services such as SoundCloud Go Plus, Beatport, BeatSource, and Tidal. And so once you've got that, you're in a good position because you've got millions of tunes that you can use directly with this on Wi-Fi. So this is actually battery powered as well, so you don't even need to be anywhere near a mains socket to plug in. So it's very good. But of course, you might not be on Wi-Fi. You might be literally with your phone as your only internet. Something I've done an awful lot because I've toured around doing DJ sets from lakes and mountains and middle of nowhere and stuff. So the question is, does the personal hotspot work? If you set your phone to personal hotspot and then use your gear to connect to that, is it good enough for downloading music? So the good news is that it is. Obviously, it's going to be utterly and completely dependent upon how strong the internet connection is, but assuming you've got a decent 4G connection or even 5G on your phone, there's no reason at all why you can't, and of course your cellular plan will give you enough data to do this. There's no reason why you can't use that. I've done it many, many times. And so it's worth knowing that the units will usually load the whole track before they'll let you play it. So even if you do have a slightly flaky internet connection, once you've loaded a track over Wi-Fi from Tidal or BeatSource or whatever, it will let you play that track even if you yank the Wi-Fi totally out or the personal hotspot. So in short, yes, you can do that. And I hope you enjoy doing that because it is good fun to be in the middle of nowhere and downloading tunes and just jamming away. Hello to Ryan. Who says, it's happening, my playlist is on fire. So I'm glad to hear that, Ryan. Hi to Dennis Parrott, not seen you for a while, my friend, I hope you're well. Hi to Michael Gubat and to Chris Linley. Craig says, can you provide tips on how I can make better use of SoundCloud for DJ music discovery? Obtaining tracks to input into my DJ software. Also, when it comes to obtaining remixes, what tips can you provide on what to look out for with there being so many out there, from recognizable names to bedroom DJ unknowns? So SoundCloud is an interesting platform because SoundCloud's kind of evolved over the years. It used to be that was the place people uploaded their own music to, and then you could hear, undiscovered tracks. I knew DJs back in the day who said I was only one DJ actually, but he did quite well with it. I only play tracks I find on SoundCloud because they're underground enough for me. Once they get signed and stuff, I'm not interested. Now that's a bit extreme, but that's what SoundCloud was always known for, having really interesting tunes that maybe weren't signed and maybe you couldn't get anywhere else. But then SoundCloud kind of turned into a streaming service that you can plug into from your DJ gear, from Serato and Traktor and so on. And so, no, not Traktor yet, but Virtual DJ, Serato, Rekordbox. And it became more like the other streaming services in that they plug millions and millions of tunes in from everywhere as well. So now it's this kind of hybrid service. And it is difficult on these services to discover stuff. So what I would say is the most important thing is when you find someone whose music you like, follow them, and then look at who they follow and try to build up a network from the middle out of people who are just into what you're into. It's the same with anything. It's the same with any streaming service. So if you're on Spotify and you're listening to your Friday, I can't remember what they call it, but your Friday New Tunes playlist, as soon as you see stuff you like, you're clicking the like button because that means it's going to recommend more like that. And so it's a bit like drilling down on a compilation album. As soon as you hear a track by an artist you like, listening to everything else by that artist, or as soon as you hear a track on a label you like, listening to everything else on that label. But in SoundCloud land, it's all about who's following who, because the people who are into the certain things and certain scenes and certain sounds tend to hang out together. So I would say do that. Look at the kind of social aspect of it and start talking to these people. SoundCloud has got messaging on it. You can ask for, one of the great things you can do on SoundCloud that people don't do enough is, if the track is up there on it sounds all right, but it's a 128 rip or something, and you can't download it, there's no download button, but you really like it, send a message to the person who made it and say, hey, I'm a DJ, I love your tune, can you send me the WAV or the 320 of it, please? Most of the time they will, and now you've got a new contact. And someone's made a tune you like, they're going to know about other music that's like that as well. But SoundCloud's a good one. Let me know how you get on with that, Craig. And also Craig's on Facebook there, so if you're on Facebook and you can see Craig's comment, then do give Craig a little bit of help, and we can get a little thread going there. Often happens. By the end of today, I can almost guarantee to you that I'm going to be like scrolling to look for questions because everyone's just chatting to everyone else, which is of course exactly how we want it. Okay, people, we are live. We've got the Numark NS4FX set up here, which of course is a Serato DJ controller, and that means I've also got Serato set up here, so we can talk about that. But really, we can talk about anything you want. That's the whole point today. I'm here to help you with the lot of it, so do ask questions. All the questions are popping up on the screen in front of me, so I'll pull another one off now. Marcus says your audio is delayed by about 500 milliseconds. We have slight delay going on here depending on the setup, but I don't think it should be too noticeable. But if you are seeing a bad audio delay, do let us know, people, and we'll try and correct that. How much is this controller, says DJ Swag? Good question. This is about $500 US, 415 UK pounds. But, and it's a big but, if you want the proper version of Serato, you're going to pay an extra 300 bucks on top of that, which is pretty big, right? So do bear in mind that you're going to need the software for this as well. So with the software, you're looking at about 800, which is suddenly not quite so cheap, but that is the way of the world nowadays. James, hello, James, and thank you for your question. I've been asked to do a series of listening, as opposed to dancing, focused DJ sets, like a tour through X, Y, or Z genres, or what was in the charts in 2000. Any thoughts or suggestions on how to plan transitions for this kind of set where potentially huge BPM jumps are possible? What an interesting question. So you've been asked to do listening sets, like a tour through a genre, or what was in the charts in this year, or whatever. It sounds like a radio show to me. Have you considered getting on the microphone and talking about the tracks you've chosen and why you've chosen them? If you are not playing for people to dance to, you don't need to mix this music. So it's going to be all in the program. I mean, I wouldn't worry about the mixing if it were me. I'd just make sure that there were clean transitions and so on. That said, if you are changing around from track to track and the BPMs are changing and the genres are changing and the keys are changing, I've got a good little rule here, which is the big things that can change in music are energy level, genre, key, BPM. There's the four big things that can change. And so if you change more than one of those, the transition becomes more abrupt. And I'm not talking about a big beat mix, I'm just talking about going from one to the other. So you've got genre, BPM, energy level, and key. So try and keep a couple of them the same. So if you change the BPM from 80 to 150, keep the genre the same. It's sometimes not as easy because house is all one genre and so on, but you know, it could be a vocal pop track, right? An 80 to a 150 vocal pop track, so keep the genre the same. And then try and find one in the same or compatible key. Because even if you're not beat mixing them, even if you're not laying the layers of music over each other, it sounds less jarring. And if it's a very high energy track and you're mixing into a ballad, well, it's gonna sound a little bit more jarring than if you keep the energy the same. So remember those four things: BPM, genre, key, and what was the fourth one? That's why I paused there. BPM, genre, key, energy level. Remember those four things and just try and change one or two of them. Don't try and change them all at once, because then you will get big jarring mixes. And don't worry about beat mixing. People aren't dancing. I'd love to know more about that though, James. What kind of gig is this where people are going to be listening to you and stroking their beards rather than dancing? I'd love to know. I'm not taking the mickey. I'm just interested. So Mel says, I'm looking for some new headphones. I had a Beats Pro Studio for the last 8 years, but I don't want to pay the money again. What do you recommend? Honestly, my favorite headphones, they're actually out, are these ones here at the moment as an all-rounder. The Pioneer DJ Q1, HDJ Q1. These are pimped up with different colored pads and lead, but you can just get them with black pads and lead, or you can buy these pads and leads in different colors if you do want to change them. Obviously, these are in the Digital DJ Tips colors. That said, you can spend as much or as little as you want on headphones. Sennheiser do some really good cheap headphones, Sennheisers, you know, down to about $20. But this is the pair I would say that gives you the sweet spot between the headphone quality and the price. The Pioneer DJ, I think they're called HDJ. My eyes are too bad to read that from here. Yeah, HDJ. Q1 anyway, CUE1. That's the important thing you need to know about that. Right, thank you for that question. If you'd like to ask a question today, we are live on all our channels, which means we're live on the Facebook page. We're also live on our Facebook groups, the public group Global DJ Network, and our private student group, Student Hub. We're live on Twitch. Hello, Twitch people. But we're also on YouTube as well. So wherever you're watching us, we prefer the Facebook page because the comments stay underneath the video forever. And that means that we can help you out even later on when this is a recording. And if you are watching the recording, you probably weren't notified that we were live. And you probably weren't notified that we were live because you're not a subscriber to the page. So do hit that subscribe button, do hit the follow button, do hit the bell icon, do hit the notify, do hit the show page first. You know the drill, because then we can let you know when we go live. These are much more fun live than they are watching recorded, for sure. That said, most people watch them on the recording. There we go. Scott, if I already have a Serato Pro license with my DJing S7, can I use it if I were to get a backup controller that comes with Serato Lite? And it depends how you got your license. I would suspect you can't, because nowadays with Serato, what happens is, so you buy a piece of Serato kit, and like this one here, for instance, this only comes with, in inverted commas, Serato DJ Lite. So you plug this into Serato DJ Pro, nothing's going to happen. You plug an expensive piece of Serato DJ kit into Serato DJ Pro, like for instance the Rain 72 scratch mixer, and it will unlock the software. It's called a Serato, an unlock device. And what that means is that as soon as you plug that in, Serato will recognize that you've plugged in a piece of hardware that is designed to work with Serato DJ Pro, and it will unlock the software on your computer and it will work. But as soon as you unplug that hardware, it will stop working again. So in the old days, Serato used to come with a like a serial card kind of thing, I think anyway, but the hardware didn't unlock it. You actually got a license and a license key. Yeah, that's exactly how it used to work. And so that license was yours and you kept it. So you bought the hardware and you got the license, but nowadays the hardware unlocks the software. You don't get that license key. So if you want to then use like Serato DJ Pro with a controller like this, it doesn't come with it. Just because you own a piece of hardware that can unlock the software, that's not going to help you when you want to plug this in. You still need to then buy the software. That's another reason why it's becoming very expensive to use Serato. There is a big page on the pricing part of their website that talks this through, and it gets very confusing. But the bottom line is you need to actually own a license key in order to be able to use Serato on anything that Serato works with. We are live with lots of questions. Hi to Merge Beats on Twitch. Good to have you here, Merge Beats, who's saying Denon DJ all the way for me. People are talking about the sockets on the back of Pioneer DJ Pro gear. They have something called Pro DJ Link. It's a posh word for Ethernet. And the reason they have that is that on Pioneer DJ Pro DJ gear, say you've got two CDJs. I've got a CDJ here somewhere. You've got two of these. And you've got a mixer, right, set up. They don't talk to each other unless you plug them together. And the way you plug them together is by using an Ethernet cable. And that will then connect to a switcher, which is just a little box. Again, I've got a switcher here I can show you. Little box like this. That's a switcher. Let's put it on another camera so you can see it better. Yeah, so it's just basically got a load of internet sockets on it. And that switcher will connect all the things together. So internet cable to this from one, internet cable to this from the other, internet cable to this from the mixer, and then I say internet cable, I mean Ethernet cable. That's part of the confusion here. So sorry, Ethernet cable. And it works as a local area network. It just connects them all together. The reason that happens is that you can then put a USB into one and the other one sees it. And the mixer knows the BPM of the current track and all that kind of clever stuff. You get a waveform on one player from the other player and all this cool stuff. Now, if you plug the internet into there, then you get the cloud functions on Pioneer's high-end gear where you can have your own music in Dropbox coming into the unit and stuff. So yes, you can plug the internet in as well, but you don't need to. But you do need to plug that high-end gear together using one of those little boxes. You don't need to do that with the Denon DJ gear. And the reason for that is that Denon DJ's gear, and I'm looking for the Denon mixer here somewhere to show you. I haven't got it here, but I think the Rains have it as well, actually. On the back, they have, no, they don't have it. Of course they don't have it. It's got to be the Denon one, and the Denon one's not down here, so I can't show you. they basically have a built-in switcher. So when I showed you that little box, that little router box with all the Ethernet connections on the back, the mixer's got it on the back. I'm sure when Pioneer DJ make another replacement mixer for the DJM 900 Nexus 2, it also will have a built-in Ethernet switcher, so you don't have to mess with that. But thank you very much for that question. Questions, people, you can put them live anywhere you are watching this. Just ask them underneath. They all come through to my screen here. And there's the proof. Look, questions and questions and questions. Loads of them for me to get through. We better get back to it. So let's have a scan and see what we've got. I have the Pioneer DJ Flex 6, says Iomide. I tampered with the merge effects. How can I reset it back to default effects? I don't know, but you are on YouTube. So someone who has got a Flex 6 is on YouTube and can answer Iomede about that. Then please head over there. This is from Joe Squirrel Music, who says, I was looking for advice as a brand new DJ. Were you in the right place? I'd just gotten a residency when I almost lost it. I was told to use IEM headphones. I almost lost my job. All my gains were low into the mixer, yet messy. So you were advised by someone that IEM headphones are good, but you got all your levels wrong on the system, right? Because when you've got normal headphones, if you like this, and when you're DJing, you are able to hear what's going on in the room, right? And then when you want to mix, you put your headphones on, you press the Q button on the unit, and you mix in another track. You get it ready, you mix it in, and then you take your headphones off again, and they're back around your neck, and you're chatting and you're having fun. When you are DJing with IEM in-ear monitors, it's very different. When you're DJing with in-ear monitors, they go in your ear. The outside world is dulled, and everything happens in your ears. You're not actually listening to the system out there at all. And so your issue here, if I read between the lines, Joe, is that you, because you didn't know how loud it was out in the club, you almost got fired. So using IEMs is different to using headphones. It's almost better to get used to both ways of doing it, or at least to take your IEMs out every now and then to see the audio in the club. That said, all DJ systems have got VU meters on, and they've got VU meters on for a reason, because this meter here is designed to show you how loud it is out there. That meter and the main volume control, and if you're plugged into a club mixer, which you normally are when you're DJing in a club as well, will tell you how loud it is out there. You know, DJs should be obsessed with the volume in their clubs. I have walked around the venues I DJ in regularly. I'll put a long track on and I'll go and walk around every corner. I want to know where every speaker is. I want to know how loud it is. Too loud and you're deafening people, they're going to get pissed off. Too quiet, it's like they're sat in their living room at home. You're not building any excitement. And as the night goes on, you need more bass. As the night goes on and the volume drifts up because your ears are getting fatigued, it might be getting a bit loud, so you need to rein it back. You should be obsessed over the volume in your venues. Too few DJs aren't. So I would say just put it down to a learning curve, but your meters are your friend. The meters on the unit are your friend. Learn that when the meters are at 4 or 5 or 6 bars, it's this loud or this loud or this loud. And get people to tell you. You know, there's other people there. There's bar staff, there's security staff, there's the manager themselves. Say, look, give me a nod, give me an up or a down sometimes, because you're out there and I'm here and I don't always know. Of course, in big venues, there are audio people. There's actually a sound engineer there whose job is to sit there and just make sure you sound good. And then you do everything on the decks and they do everything about out there. You don't get that in bars and in lounges and small clubs. So you have to do it yourself, but be obsessed with it. Don't beat yourself up too much. These things happen, and do everything I just said. Use the meters, take your IEMs out and walk around sometimes. Get used to it. You get used to venues very, very quickly. You get used to the volume in a place. After 2 or 3 gigs there, you'll look back on this and think, ha, that was easy, easier than I thought to get my head around it. But thank you, it's a good question. Right, so this is from Jay. I've had no issues with I have had issues with Wi-Fi download speeds on my Denon gear, on my Prime 4, but it just depends on the strength of your connection, as Phil says, indeed, yeah. So C-Hole2G. Hi man, loving your channel so far. Keep up the good work. What would you suggest for DJ headphones? I'm about to get the Sennheiser HD-25s. I'd like to know your take on the subject. If you want to spend a bit more, you know, the reason we recommended these a minute ago is that they're not very expensive. If you want to spend a bit more, the Sennheiser HD-25s are the absolute classic headphone. I have a pair of them here. These they're just my headphone of choice and have been for so long. Oh, they're unplugged there. Look, this is a good example. They are totally modular. So everything about these can be unplugged. This plug here, this lead here, plugs into the headphone here. This comes off, so if these break, you can buy new ones, you can get new pads, you can get new headbands, you can get, every part of these can be replaced. These are a wonderful, wonderful pair of headphones. I would recommend HD-25s to anyone who wants a small minimal headphone. That said, they're not the cheapest, about 150 for a pair, but they will literally last you a lifetime, because you just, if anything does break, you can just replace it. So there you go. Miles, here's a really good question. Why is split Q not on more hardware, including controllers? Also, why don't more software have the ability to do it like Mix and Virtual DJ? Right, okay, let's just do the first bit of this question. Why is split Q not on more hardware, including controllers? Split Q is something you find on DJ mixers. They've all got it, all decent mixers have got it. And what it does is, say you're wearing a pair of headphones and you put the split Q on. Now, normally on a pair of headphones, when you're listening to the output and you don't have any of the Q buttons turned on, these are the Q buttons on this particular mixer, what these buttons are doing is saying, play me what's on that channel through my headphones, right? Play me what's on that one, that one, that one. And you use this for getting ready this before you mix it into the actual what everyone else is hearing. And so that's good. But what if you don't want to take your headphones off? Because normally when you're DJing, you'll have a speaker like nearby. You might have more than, you might have two speakers, two monitors, but you'll have a speaker nearby, which is giving you what the club's hearing, and your headphones are giving you what you're about to mix in. So my way of doing it is just to have one ear on the headphones, so I can hear that or whatever from the track I'm mixing in, and the other ear listening to the speakers in the club, and then that way you can get the beats right and then you can mix them in. But what if you haven't got that monitor speaker? Or what if you are DJing at home and you can't have a speaker because everyone else has gone to bed? Wouldn't it be good if you could use this headphone as your monitor speaker? That's always giving you what the club is hearing, and that's always giving you what you're preparing. You can, and split Q does it. You press the split Q button and it sets your headphones up like that. The master output goes down one and the Q output goes down the other. It's very useful, but it's most useful in clubs, because in clubs you never know what you're going to get monitor wise, and a lot of people like to wear IEMs. We've talked about those already. James Hype, our tutor, only wears IEMs. He DJs everywhere with IEMs. Laidback Luke, our tutor, only DJs with IEMs. Between those two guys, they've played literally to millions and millions and millions of people in thousands of clubs. Wearing your headphones all the time is often the way people choose to DJ. And for that, you do need that split Q, because it gives you the monitor speaker in one ear and the Q'd in the other ear. So why don't they have it on more gear? Well, they do have a similar-ish thing on nearly all DJ controllers, not all of them, but nearly all of them. And that is this knob here, Q Mix. So the Q Mix knob will give you only what you've got pressed here, or only the main output, and this won't do anything. Or you can have a mix between the two. So by going like this, it's quite possible to say, well, are they in time? What will they sound like together? And so on. It means you've got to use a hand to do it though. And a lot of people don't like that. You know, with the split Q, you press the button and you forget about it. And you learn to mix in that way because it becomes very normal to you to mix in that way. But I don't think they put it on consumer DJ gear because they've got this alternative, and it tends to make more sense in clubs. Personally, I'd like to see it on all gear, but you know, this gear is made to a budget, and what do you put in and what do you take out? What would they have to take away in order to give you that? And someone's making the decision that it's not the most important button. So this is from Brulafoo, and I don't know the answer to this, Brulafoo. It's not the first time I've been asked this. I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but I'll ask it, and then on YouTube, you can help Brulafoo out. This is a question about the engine system, which is what standalone gear like Newmark's Mixstream Pro, this is a standalone unit, doesn't need a laptop. The Denon DJ unit I showed you earlier, the little Prime Go, and also the Denon DJ SC5000, SC6000 units. This is what they use. The question is, if I have MP4s, video files on a card, will the unit play the audio part only? I've got loads of video files, but I wondered if it'll just play the audio part or just not play them at all. And I don't know the answer. I bet someone here does. Please tell me before the end. I'll share it and we'll clear that one up. So let's move down. Dennis, thanks for replying. I'm glad you're well, and we are all doing very well here at Digital DJ Tips 2. Thank you, Dennis. Is there another way to buy WAV files other than Beatport and Juno downloads? Most of the big like Traktor and most of the specialized stores will sell you downloads as well, but you WAV downloads as well. But you're right, you can't get them in Amazon and iTunes and things like that. I don't think so. Yeah. Again, if you've got any more thoughts on that, that question was asked on YouTube by Babu X. Hi to Romel in Connecticut. Good to have you here, Romel. Is it possible, says Jermaine, to map the tap feature in Serato? I have an SB3 and it doesn't have the tap button, but I never use the Dex 3 and 4 buttons. I want to map it to those buttons. It should be possible. So this is what is being talked about here. So this is a Serato controller, and most of the buttons, not all of them, I don't think those actually, most of the buttons can, and faders, be changed to do something else. Over in the software, you go to the mapping feature, which is part of the settings, system settings, and then you can change it. So this is the Serato software. You have this place here where you can allow Serato hardware remapping, and then when you set this up on the system and you click the map button on here, then everything will light up. Click MIDI on here, you see, everything lights up that we can do. And so we can select like load to deck or shift left or library tab focus or sync. And we can press a different button on our unit, and that button will now do what it is that we selected on the screen. And this can be really powerful because if, as you say, there's a button you don't like or you don't ever use, then you can map it to something else. I'm not sure whether the layer buttons, which switch between the decks, actually will be able to respond to one of those. But let's have a go. Let's just click something random. What was the one that you suggested there? What was the button that you suggested that we changed? I'm looking now, but all the comments have moved up a little bit more, so I've lost it. Oh, there we go. The tap button. Is it possible to map the tap feature in Serato? Okay, I'm not sure that's obvious on the screen. Let's get away from the comments and back to the tap maybe exists on the screen. I can't remember whether you can actually see, because you need to be able to see the button in order to do it. Maybe it's on the effects panel. It's not showing me the effects panel, unfortunately. All right, let's just try it to something else. Let's try it to auto loop. So I'm going to click auto loop, and it says press or move the MIDI control you wish to assign. So now on here, I'm going to try and assign auto loop to layer. And it seems to have done that. I can't be sure without testing it. It's doing something. So in theory, it can do it, but we've got to find where the tap button is on the software. And I think this is going to be the thing that we're going to struggle with, because I'm not sure there is even a tap button on here that you can then say to assign to something else. Maybe someone can help me out, because of course when you're on the spot and I haven't got the time to look on here properly or look on the software properly, I can't, you know, it might be right in front of my face, but hey, we're on a live show. Yeah, good question. But this idea, by the way, you can do this in all software, most software. You can map anything you want to anything you want, especially when you've got smaller controllers like this. There's not much stuff on here, right? And so if there's something you don't use, and there's like slip. Slip is a function that I love. There's no slip button on here, so I would definitely try and map. I'd try and probably map the tap button, ironically, to slip. So that I could use that instead. So yeah, an interesting question. Sorry I couldn't answer it fully. I'd need to kind of like get stuck into the unit and have a play for 20 minutes or something to find out. So thank you. Luke on Facebook. Hi Phil, from Australia. Finally up late enough to catch a live show. Do I need an audio interface to feed a line level to my phone when my mixes are being uploaded to TikTok? Yes, you do. The only other way of getting your audio into your phone to upload your mixes, not only to TikTok, but you might want to live stream on Twitch or whatever. The only other way is if your phone has a headphones in socket, whether that is an actual headphones in socket or you've got one of those little adapters that will give you one. In other words, an adapter or a socket that when you plug in a wired set of earbuds, that, you know, the ones that have the little microphone on to take phone calls, if that works, if when you plug that in, you can take a phone call and the little microphone takes your voice in, if you've got a way of getting a pair of wired headphones plugged into your phone, basically, then you can do it by kind of hacking it. And the way you hack it is that you make up a cable, or you buy a couple of cables that will do this for you, that take the output from your DJ controller, and on the other end, give you a socket that looks like this. It's just a headphone socket, right? So it's an 1/8 inch mini jack. But crucially, it isn't like this. This is called a TRS. Tip ring sleeve is what it stands for. And it is a type of socket which lets you plug stereo output into a pair of headphones. Now, on the wired headphones that I was just talking about, if you've got a pair, have a look at this on your wired headphones. And what you'll find is it's got 2 rather than 1 of these rings in the middle. In other words, it's got 3 of these black bits. It's called TRRS. And this also has an input for the microphone. And that's why those kind of headphones with the little microphone built in, you know, on the cable, there's a little microphone here. Sometimes it's got a volume control on it as well. That's how the audio gets from there into your phone. And you hijack that by getting your audio from your DJ controller up that cable and through into there. You can buy little cables, and I've got one down here, but it'll take me too long to find it. Rode do one. I think it's called the SC4. That's a TRS to a TRRS cable, TRS to TRRS. And so you plug your DJ controller with a lead into that cable and that cable into your phone. And then there's another adapter to get your headphone socket on your phone if it hasn't got one. So there's lots of adapters, but it's cheaper than buying an audio interface. It can work, it can sound good. It can be temperamental. You have to like launch your DJ app after you've plugged that in or before and stuff. And it's only ever going to be in mono. So it is a hack, but a lot of people do it. And it's a lot better than using the microphone to pick up your DJ gear. Other than that, your DJ signal. Other than that, you're looking at getting an audio interface. And the kind of audio interfaces that are made for this kind of job are like this one here. This is the Evermix mix box. So you plug your DJ controller into one end and you plug there's a lead that comes with it to plug into your phone on the other end. Do check it's compatible with your particular phone on the Evermix website. There's other ones here, the Roland Go Mixer. Roland's got one called the Go Mixer and another one called the Go Mixer Pro X. They will do it as well. You're looking for an iOS or an Android audio interface, basically. That will give you the best sound. That will give you stereo sound. But without that, the hack does work, albeit in mono, as I said. Right, people, we have got very little time left because I need to go at 1:45 today. However, I'm going to try and do a few more questions before we go. This is from John, and this is a music production question. Awesome. John says, I've got a question about your music production setup. Personally, me, Phil. Among the other things, you have a Novation Circuit Tracks linked to a Korg Volca bass. Why did you choose the bass? Right, okay, so let's talk a little bit about making music at home. Now, I have got a life that is involved heavily with laptops. I've got a laptop here. I've got another, well, computers anyway. There's a production computer here to my right. And if you've been with us a long time, you'll know about this view here. This is called the comment cam. Sometimes we do webinars and stuff from here, so I can sit at the production computer and do all the stuff that we do on our coaching calls and stuff from here. I've got a computer at home that I use when I'm doing stuff like this and so on, all controlled by laptop. And of course I DJ with a laptop as well. When I make music, I do not want a laptop there. It's just, I make music for fun. I make music to chill myself out. I make beats just to make myself happy. And so I've gravitated personally towards using devices that don't need a laptop. My little setup at home has got something that's very similar looking to this, actually. This is a Circuit Rhythm. It's just a tiny little groove box. This is a drum machine sampler type thing. They've got another one of these called the Circuit Tracks. These are by Novation, these little boxes, little tiny battery powered things, which has got 2 synthesizers, a drum machine, and it can control a couple of external bits of gear, a little mixer built in, a few effects built in. You can basically make full tracks sitting there, jamming away without a computer in sight. I love it. And the other thing I have is little synthesizers. I've got a couple of little synthesizers. Here's one. This is a Uno Synth Pro. We just reviewed this on the website actually by IK Multimedia, an analog synthesizer. These are cheap. These sound amazing. But I've also got a little Korg. Now the Korgs are another world entirely. This is one of the little Korg ones. This is a Korg FM, Volca FM. These are battery powered. They've even got a little speaker in the back. Sounds terrible, by the way, but they're battery powered. They've got little sequencers and keyboards built in. This is an FM synthesizer, and I've also got the Volca bass. These are great. You know, a couple of these plugged into what I just described gives you a real powerful little mini portable DJ music production studio. So your question was, you've got a Korg Volca bass. Why did you choose the bass? And the reason is very, very simple. I chose that one because it sounds like acid house. You know, the classic acid sound, like Josh Wink's High State of Consciousness is one of the classic acid tracks, of course. That sound, it's got the analog acid bass sound, and I love that. You can make that sound really warm. You can make it scream. It's just such a fun device. It's got a big knob on it, like that one hasn't got one. It's got a massive resonance knob on it that just, you get a sound you like, you mix it in with some drums and some pads and a sample playing away, and you can just sit there and play. I can sit there and play with it for hours, just tweaking that noise. To me, it just sounds like fun. So the reason I've got that is purely because I love it. These little things cost hardly anything. Where did I put it? These little things cost hardly anything. I mean, I say hardly anything. You buy all 11 of them and you're going to be spending a lot of money, but they're like $120 or something. And they sound amazing. These are just incredible bits of kit. So the Korg Volca, these are called. If you want to get into making music without using a laptop, it's definitely the kind of kit that you're going to be coming across. We've done some stuff on Digital DJ Tips about all that, by the way. So if you're interested in making music without a laptop, do head to Digital DJ Tips. It's probably a good time for me to show you how to do that, because we've got about 5,000 articles. You won't believe how many we've written over the years over on Digital DJ Tips. So it can be a bit challenging to find them, but there's a little magnifying glass in the top corner. So if you want to type something you're interested in, like production, up there, click search, and then everything about this is going to pop up here and is going to let you dive in and dig and find something that will work for you. We were just talking about the Novation Circuit Tracks, so maybe you wanted to find our review on that. I'll type Circuit Tracks in at the top, and there we go, it's the first thing you see there, our review of that unit, and so on and so on. So it's a really good idea to get used to the search function on Digital DJ Tips' website, because it's a good place. Look, getting started making music without a computer, this is where I go into a lot of detail about how to do this, about my personal setup, what you need. There's that little device I just showed you, little samplers and mixers and so on. There's probably a picture of my setup here. If there is, I will show it to you and I'll show you what we're talking about. Oh no, unfortunately there isn't. But yeah, so do use the search bar at the top of Digital DJ Tips. It's a great way of finding out about whatever your gear is. Oh, this is the NS4 that's also got a review on there. And if I wanted to find that, I keep switching back to that and trying to make an excuse, but if I run out of excuses, I'll just switch to it by mistake. Right, 1 or 2 more questions to end off with them, people. Let's grab this from, I'm just trying to find something that we haven't covered in an area that maybe we haven't covered. Lots of you talking about Serato, and that's fair enough because we've got Serato here. Oh, here's a great one. Learning producing first or DJing first. Should I learn producing first or DJing first? Based upon what I just said, learn them both at the same time, because you don't have to learn everything about DJing and producing to be a DJ producer. Far from it. If you get a simple piece of gear like this and a simple piece of equipment, like for instance, Circuit Rhythm, this is a drum machine, and you plonk this down next to this, boom, there we go. This has got an external input in the back there. Plug this into that. Now you can make beats and DJ. Learn how to use that. Once you've mastered that, add something else here. Once you've mastered that, upgrade this. Once you've mastered that, start making music on your computer and bringing it in and playing it. Because you want to do them both, there's no sense not to start them both at the same time, because it's so quick now to make your own music. You can just make a beat you like. You could just do a bongo pattern or a disco beat, loop it and start dropping it underneath the tracks you're playing on your DJ gear. Or you could get some vocals that you like, chop up an a cappella, turn it into a new kind of vocal that you like and start playing it in your DJ sets. Or, and we've got a whole course on this from Laidback Luke, indeed now is a time, now we're talking about having a look at the website. Now is the time for me to show you how to find these courses. We've got a whole course from Laidback Luke on just what I'm about to explain to you, which is instead of thinking, oh, I've got to make music from the beginning or else I'm a fake. That's rubbish. Head to the DJ courses tab at the top of Digital DJ Tips, scroll down to the production courses and go to Laidback Luke's bootlegs, mashups and re-edits. And in here, Luke will tell you how to take the tracks you've already got and that you love and how to turn them into your own versions, into mashups with other tracks, or even bootleg versions. Like you could change the genre of a track that you love to suit your style of playing and then DJ with them in your own DJ sets. This all counts as production, but you don't need to be a musician. You don't need to play a musical instrument. You just need to want to do it. So I would say definitely 100%. Start them both at the same time, but don't dive in so deep that you get completely disillusioned. Bit by bit, anything counts. Any changing of any track starts to count as production. If you put cue points on your tracks when you're DJing, let's get that back in there so we can see just that. If you're used to putting cue points in your tracks, you're marking cue points at the beginning and end of the breakdown, the drop, maybe if there's a big riff, you're putting a cue point on each of the notes of the riff so you can change the order of them and jam around that way. That is live remixing, but if you record that, that counts as production. You've now got a remix of that track you can play in your own DJ sets. So baby steps, but in both areas at once would be my tip to you there. Right, one or two more questions then, and then I got to get out of here, people. Here in Germany, you can get the Numark NS4FX bundled with Serato DJ Pro for under $600. Aaron, please post the link to that if you would. You could do me a real favor and wait until this is a recording on YouTube and post it in the comments underneath. I'd love to see that. So thank you very much for that. Gin X says the best thing I did was learn production going forward. It's going so well at the moment, so really good to hear that you agree with me there. Steve's saying the Sennheiser HD-25s are indeed very light and fantastic for longer sets, and they've got amazing sound. You Don't Like My Music is a fan of JBL headphones, so there you go, there's another option there. Lots of you asking about DJ gear. Will it be coming back into stock soon? Who knows? The best word I've got is the semiconductor shortage, which is what's causing this, is not going away in months. We're looking at years. So I think there's going to be slower DJ gear supply for quite a long time to come. This is going to be my final one today. This is from DJ Martin Midwest. Does Digital DJ Tips have any promotions or coupons for online classes? I'd like to purchase a new class for the summer, but the prices are just a little out of my bank range at the moment. I would say just make sure you are on our mailing list, because we're always making offers to our students that don't get made public. Go to digitaldjtips.com/join. Our big public sale of the year is generally the one we do in Black Friday week in November. It's not going to help you for the summer, but if you come and join us now keep an eye on your inbox, there will be offers for you that aren't for everyone else. So another reason to join Digital DJ Tips by going to that URL one more time, digitaldjtips.com/join. People, thank you for being with me today. I'm very sorry I couldn't get to all your comments. If you ask them on Facebook, we'll try and get to them afterwards. So next time, if you haven't had your comment replied to and you're not on Facebook, come to the Facebook page next time and watch there, because they stay there so we can get to you, and we will get to you as well. My team work very hard to answer all the comments as the week goes on. Same goes for you if you're watching the recording. But meanwhile, from me, Phil, here with the NS4FX in the Digital DJ Tips studio, I hope you've enjoyed today's show. I'll be back next week. But meanwhile, get good, get out there, make the moments, and I'll see you again very soon. Till then, bye-bye.